No Nick in the house today. It's just me and Jackson. We're here to recap week 4, and we're going to start off with talking about, the Dolphins-Bills game. Because in my opinion, that was the biggest game going into the weekend, and I think there are some big takeaways. So, Jackson, what do you want to say about this game?
Well, me and Nick, I think, discussed that Dolphins might be the number one team in the NFL at the end of last week. And so this was going to be an interesting game going into it. And then, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs pretty much. The whole team just took it to the Bills because what Nick said was that the Bills have never seen a team like the Dolphins, which I hit him back with. The Dolphins have never seen a team like the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like the Dolphins' defense is not sufficient enough to keep up with the teams that their offense is in that stratosphere with. Like, their offense is incredible, but it just whenever they have to play against those teams, like this team's obviously can make it to the playoffs, but it doesn't seem like they have the chance for a Super Bowl ring with this defense or any further progression.
I pretty much agree. If you listen to what I said last week, I didn't think the Dolphins were as for real as people said. They scored 70, and I don't mean to just bash Nick, but he laughed at me pretty hard because I was thinking the Dolphins were a little overhyped just because I feel like they ran up the score on the Broncos. They didn't need to do that. And I'm not saying there's plenty of teams that can score 70, but like Chiefs, Bears, like the Chiefs could have went for 70 if they wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really necessarily take away as much. I feel like the Dolphins are a team that's going to run it up on some bad teams. They're going to look really good this weekend. They play the Giants. Yeah. They're going to crush the Giants, right? And everyone's going to be jumping back on the Tua train, which, I'm starting to like Tua a little bit. But full disclosure, I'm probably never going to pick the Dolphins, and to make a deep run in the playoffs because in the AFC especially, Tua just doesn't stack up with the AFC guys. Like, I'm never picking him over Mahomes. I'm never picking him over Josh. I'm never picking him over Burrow. I'm never picking him over Herbert. And then when Rodgers gets back, nope. Then Lamar, nope. So, and you might say, well, the Dolphins' team's really good, which I agree. Their team is really good around Tua, and I think they get the best out of him. I just think in the playoffs, when it's one game, like it's quarterback play is, it's most important. And the Dolphins' defense, like you said, I don't know how strong it is. They need Ramsey back desperately.
Yeah,
that'll give him a little bit of a boost. I need to see him healthy. It might be a long time though, from what I read. But yeah, I like the Bills. I said I had them in the Super Bowl. I liked them in this game. I don't know. I think the difference is just Tua's he can't win a shootout. In a big game with like Allen or Mahomes. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, it's a similar to the Chargers position of obviously the Dolphins have a better offense than the Chargers, but the Chargers have this defense that just can't keep up, and Herbert is just doing his best to outscore the points that their defense are giving up.
He's carrying that whole franchise right now. He's carrying them, man.
Yeah, it's a good thing Dolphins, got all their wins before this because they go Giants, Panthers, and then
freebies,
and then they're on to the Eagles. So
that's a big game.
There's progression to be had, but because I would take Bills over Eagles, so I'm curious to see what Dolphins. I think game of matchups we like to talk about.
It's game of matchups, yeah. That's what football is.
Dolphins Eagles will be interesting.
Dolphins. The Bills, I feel like, match up with the Dolphins better than the Eagles do. But what sucks for the Bills, which I feel like nobody's talking about, Trey White tearing his Achilles.
Right. Yeah.
That is massive. That's not gonna. That hurts for me, especially because I'm picked them, go all the way. That's gonna hurt, man. When they come to the playoffs and you have to play those stud quarterbacks, that's gonna hurt.
That's a huge secondary piece.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. Back with the we talk about a lot about the Dolphins, but the Bills, I think through 3 weeks, the last 3 weeks, they've looked like the best team in the NFL. And the last 3 weeks, they crushed the Raiders, they crushed the Commanders, and they crushed the Dolphins. I mean, no team has a better 3 week stretch than this week, than these 3 weeks.
Oh, so you're saying through the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, the Dolphins game, or not Dolphins, the Jets game. That was tough. That was a tough game. That was their F game. They've had 3 A+ games. And
all right, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and the Jets, obviously, they gave Mahomes some trouble too. So maybe the Jets are a little sneaky. But okay, anyway, I think the way Stephon Diggs played on Sunday, if he can continue that like for the rest of the season, like that, he was already like a top 10 guy, like receiver to me.
Oh yeah.
But like that game was like maybe the best game I've ever seen him play. Like I texted you that. Like that was maybe the best game I've ever seen him play. So that vaults them into their offense, which is already, awesome, vaults them into another level with Diggs playing that well. So yeah, and Josh Allen's also, but we don't have Nick on, so you don't have the MVP ladder, but Josh Allen's my MVP through 4 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. I would. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. It might through 4. I'd probably go Allen, but I'd say maybe like a prediction might be more close, like a McCaffrey or something.
Yeah, I just think. Yeah,
but
I like
through 4
too, but he's just never like the last player to win MVP non-quarterback was Adrian Peterson, right? When he was in the Vikings, the 2012 year, like up over 2,000 yards. Like that is like one of the greatest running back seasons ever. I don't know.
That probably
every season is looking insane though, so I'm not even gonna like try to discredit what he's doing. I just think people are the narrative around that is the team's great. He has weapons everywhere, so it's easy to just throw it to McCaffrey when you also have to worry about Kittle and Debo and Ayuk, Ayuk is looking like a dog too. So
yeah, he is.
That's just a tough. The MVP is just a quarterback thing.
Yeah. I could see that, but I don't know. I'm still I'm not counting him out at all.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Definitely offensive player of the year candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Puka Nacua. Man, who would have thought that? The top 2 guys right now.
We'll see what happens when Cup comes back, man.
Yeah,
I'm scared. I mentioned it after the first week, dude. I'm scared that this offense is worse with Cup back. Just not because Cup himself makes it worse, just because of the targets being taken away from people.
That's interesting you say that.
It's just a discussion. It's not like a prediction.
Yeah. So I think who do they play this week? Oh, they play the Eagles. That's a good game. Because the Eagles, like, they look good. I think they're up there, the best teams in the NFC, but, like, they have not looked great through 4 weeks. And the secondary especially has gotten pretty torched. And the Rams, McVay scheming them up. I don't know. That's a low line. The Eagles only favored by 4. That's kind of low. I think
that is pretty low.
I feel like they think Vegas is onto something. I don't know. I don't usually go off game.
Yeah, like Eagles don't go to OT with the Colts, or like Eagles probably don't lose to the Bengals, so
yeah,
with how the Bengals have been playing, at least.
I definitely think the Eagles are better, but it's one game.
I'd say that line
that's an interesting game. That's an interesting game. All right, I guess we can move on from that. What's the team you want to talk about next, or like? What game stood out to you? And I'll say what I have to say.
Let's talk about the Bengals-Titans game. We got the Titans.
All right.
And the Bengals, dude. I mean, that's a must-win game for the Bengals.
Yeah.
Must-win might be an exaggeration, but
I think it's more of a must-win for the Titans.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But I think
I give you they needed that. That was a big game. A sneaky little big game because both teams were sitting at 1 and 2. So yeah, what I took away from this, obviously I had the Titans winning, but not like this. I didn't see enough from the Bengals through 3 weeks. Like their offense really didn't show me anything, And I think the Titans defense is actually pretty good. Like I think their front seven is really good. Like
They have that sneakiness that the Jets have.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they have a lot of like dogs like on their front seven.
When Henry gets going, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that's what it took.
Yeah, Titans, they're a solid team, but the thing we're here to talk about the Bengals, so I'll say what I have to say about the Bengals. I said this on the pod a couple weeks ago. I thought the Bengals should have sat out Burrow. I didn't really the calf injury to me is just such a tough injury for a quarterback to play through, especially a guy like Burrow who likes to get outside the pocket.
A lot of stress.
No one thinks of him for being athletic and but him getting out the pocket, making plays, that's his thing, and he can't do that. Like if you watch the Bengals, he's literally a statue. Like he has one read and then he's getting sacked because the offensive line can't hold up. But in the past, it's been like, well, he can get out of it because his O-line or because his legs. He can usually get out of sacks and stuff, but it seems like he doesn't even trust his calf. So I thought they should have sat him till the bye, which I think they have 2 more games till the bye. They play the Cardinals this week.
Yeah, I'm not confident with the Bengals versus the Cardinals.
That's another interesting game.
Yeah, you were telling me about the line. I don't like the Bengals versus the Cardinals at all.
Yeah. I'm not going to be betting on that game.
That's a game you have to sit Burrow though. Like there's not many better options. If he's hurt, if he still like has something bothering him, that's a game because
he's legit been like the worst quarterback in the NFL. Like
they go Cardinals, Seahawks, and then 49ers, Bills. Like
he has to get healthy after through the bye. Like he cannot.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's got to play out of his mind.
He's gonna play. I know it's probably never even consideration for him to sit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was never really a fan of Zach Taylor. I don't know if it's his call. Never been fond of him. I mean, I think he's been fine. He's been an okay coach. But I mean, okay. Let's just say the Bengals. Burrow keeps playing, and they have a bad season. They win like 6 or 7 games. What do you think they're going to do this offseason? Like, what would they do?
I mean, they had the weapons on offense. Their offense is stacked.
I know, but I think is T. Higgins a free agent? I think he might be a free agent.
What?
T. Higgins?
Did he just get dropped? He was playing. He got hurt.
I'm saying in the offseason. My bad.
Oh, okay. I was confused.
My bad. Yeah, I think this is his last year on his deal. So and I don't think they can pay him. Since they just paid Burrow, I don't think they have the money. So
okay.
I don't know. I'm not saying fire Zach Taylor, but I don't think you can just stand panicked after going playing that bad with Joe Burrow, who I don't think that these games haven't really changed my thought of him. I still think of him as a top 5 quarterback. This doesn't really change. I just think he's injured.
Like he's not playing as one.
Yeah, like we've seen quarterbacks in the past play injured and just completely ruin themselves. Like I think this is just another example of that. Him just trying to play through it, which I'm not saying he's, being selfish or anything, because I would, quarterback, I would want my QB to be out there and playing. But I just think organizationally, you just sign with a long-term deal. It's not worth it.
It's the tobacco from all those cigars, dude.
Yeah.
He's gonna throw his life away.
Oh man.
I would agree. I think they need a new coach. I know you didn't necessarily say fire. I would take that leap and say it's time for a new coach.
This offense, I feel like they've been together for a while, and I think they have the least points scored in the NFL. Like, I don't care what offensive wise. I don't care what, if Burrow can't move, you got to help your guy out. At some point, if you're a good offensive coach, you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Mixon. You can figure it out. You should be able to figure it out, even with Burrow being a little dinged up. But I don't know. The offense has just not been creative. It's not helping him at all. And, yeah, I don't know. I say this is a must-win game for the Bengals. If they lose this game, man, it could get ugly. It could get ugly in Cincy.
It is. These next two need to be wins. I mean, 49ers and Bills, that's like 1 and 2. Like coming up after in 2 weeks. They've got 2 weeks, 49ers, Bills, like just bang, bang.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Bengals need to start winning, or else the season's gonna wrap up for them very quickly.
Yeah.
It's all just falling apart, and we keep expecting them to grab onto the edge. And I mean, they might already be in.
Because we give them the benefit of the doubt, because in the past they've done it, but this just feels a little different.
It does feel a lot different because there's just barely even a shimmer of hope. I wouldn't.
Yeah, there's no
after the Rams game.
Sliver of hope. Yeah, like you said. I mean, Jamar's not even getting the ball, and now defenses are just blitzing him because they know he doesn't want to move, and I don't know. That's tough. That's
like
tough.
Even in their only win, it just seems like that was a game of like. I mean, honestly, you could say
game.
The Rams, you could almost say, deserved to win that game.
The Rams lost that game as much as like the Bengals didn't win that. Like
that's what I was going to say. That was a game of just both teams did not play good, and I mean, he might have been in bounds if you watch that game. So there could have been a touchdown there.
Talking about Tutu Atwell.
Yeah.
I
don't. Yeah, I think it was Tutu. I can't remember if it was Puka or Tutu, but. I mean, yeah, scary season for the Bengals, but the Titans look good.
Yeah,
I mean, especially
that whole division. I don't know if you've looked; they're all 2-2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Titans, Colts, Jags, Texans. They're all
besides the Jags, I'd say, because that should have been like a Jags, like just golden ticket, like.
Yeah, if there was any year the Jags would steamroll the division, it would be this year. I agree.
I'd say all of those are sneaky teams that could win games. I mean, Colts could have won that Rams game. I think if ARs, this is obviously just doesn't mean anything. But I think if AR isn't coming off a concussion, I think Colts win that game. I mean, because they had to come back at the end, just a rough start. But I mean that, or if they have Jonathan Taylor, we'll see what the offense does with Jonathan Taylor. Same Cooper Kupp discussion. But, I mean, I think it's a little different with a running back. So yeah, I think it should be better for Jonathan Taylor. Just hopefully Jonathan Taylor performs, which it's been a common occurrence. People coming back off injury are not performing. Like Javonte and Breece Hall. Kind of like people are not performing off of their.
That's good. I hate the narrative that not narrative, but people just assume like when a guy's like sitting out because of his contract or whatever, and he's like, yeah, like I'll come back, I'll come back in like week 7. Like you can work out all you want. Like if you're not practicing with the team, you're not going to be ready. Like you can be in good shape, you're not going to be ready right away. So yeah, I agree. I'll say we can talk about that division a little bit. We can move on. I think you like the Colts. I always say I don't like the Colts because I'm a Texans fan. I would say for the Texans, I'm loving it, right? But my expectations haven't raised. I think before the season I said, look, we're gonna be 6 or 7 win team. That's gonna be exciting. It's gonna show hope for the future, like real hope, But this has been better than I expected, no doubt. CJ's looked way better out the gate than I expected, But just biases thrown aside, I think the Texans, they're going to take a dip. I'm not saying I don't think they're going to keep up what they've been doing. I'm not saying it's all fluke, they crush those games. But I think sooner rather than later, the O-line is going to catch up to them, like not being healthy. I just think in the NFL, it's too tough to win games. Like, especially, I know CJ's a rookie, like playing so well for a rookie, but he's still a rookie.
People will figure out.
He's gonna make mistakes. Like he's a rookie. Like the expectations for CJ now, it's pretty tough. Like they're sky high now, which sucks because he's only 4 games in. So if he plays bad, then everyone's gonna turn on him and then say he sucks and blah blah blah. But no, I don't know if he's as good as he's playing now. He can get this good, but I think he'll slimmer, not slimmer. I think he'll fall off just a little bit production wise. It's tough. I don't know. I love what I'm seeing for the Texans, but I'm not completely sold yet.
Yeah, Dameon Pierce took a second to get going, but the last 2 weeks he's been very good.
Mm-hmm.
So, those are two options that could carry a workload. The way I feel about the Texans is if I'm a Chiefs fan, a Bills fan, a Dolphins fan, 49ers, Cowboys, et cetera, I am not happy to go against the Texans because it seems like a wild card team to me that could pick up a game on any team if they play like their best. They're obviously never going to go in being a favorite against one of those teams, but that's a team like the sneakiness we're talking about, like the Jets and sometimes the Titans. They have the ability to pick up a game on any team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
If they match up good, and if all these young guys on that offense are playing good, they're a shaky team. Not shaky, scary. So that's not a team I'm ever happy to go against.
Yeah, they're I'll give you that. They're a tough out. I'm gonna give it
2 upsets back to back.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a couple more weeks before I start hanging banners and stuff.
Yeah, before the propaganda comes out.
Yeah. All right, we can move on to let's talk about a game that stood out to me was Patriots Cowboys. I'll let you say what you have to say. Something you want to get off your chest about that.
I mean, we had the argument. We were more, I guess, arguing the quarterback situation, which I think we know how that ended. Almost threw for about like double his yards, and I mean, did Mac 12 for 21, 150 and 2 INTs. I mean, yeah, rough game for Mac. So the Mac-Dak debate looks like we stand to be on the right side for another day. But I mean, Cowboys look scary, man. I think maybe there was not an overreaction to the Cardinals game, but maybe I think some people took the wrong result, took the wrong takeaway from the Broncos Cardinals games, and that would be that first off, they're adapting without their why am I blanking? What's the guy's name who just got injured? Why am I blanking? I know this guy.
For the Cowboys?
Diggs?
Yeah. Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah, okay. Gosh, okay. They were adapting with that secondary without him, and then I mean, I think we really just saw that the Cardinals team could also be a decent team, and they've looked better, but I think the Cowboys are still a super, super scary team. Not a team I at all want to go against.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on the Mac stuff. I think he's done. I think they need to move off of him. I don't know.
I don't think this is the situation for him. I think, like you were saying with Zach, maybe in a different situation, Zach Wilson looks a lot better, or maybe you were saying he gets more flack. But I think Mac Jones can succeed in a different offense, but he needs more weapons than this. I think he has potential, and he's still young, but he's not the guy that can make other people better.
I feel like he's a guy.
Elevate his offense.
Yeah, I feel like he's a guy that needs confidence. Like once he starts playing bad, you can just see it. His body language just it sucked on Sunday.
Yeah, we've seen him pulled out of games.
Yeah, and you watch him, like I remember one play specifically, he had an open guy like 5 yards in front of him and he missed him, right? The first thing he did was drop his head. He didn't look confident, and I don't know. I don't know. I think he definitely has some potential. I don't know where he could go necessarily, like a better situation for him. But I think New England should move off. I mean,
maybe the Vikings if Kirk leaves.
Yeah, but
I think that's not an ideal
draft a guy though. Why would you take Mac when you can just draft a guy?
True. I know. I'm just talking hypothetical.
Especially because this class is looking like one of the best classes ever, like quarterback.
It does, yeah.
Like Caleb, Drake, Shedeur, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, like all those guys are studs. I I never was high on Mac to begin with, and this game just kind of put the nail in the coffin. I didn't. I didn't pick. I thought the Cowboys would roll, but not like this. Like they made Mac like a backup. But to be
They
fair,
did.
to be
He
fair,
could be.
to be fair though, the Cowboys have made other like they made Daniel Jones look like a backup too. We'll talk about him in a second. But like
Which he also could be.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like the Cowboys defense is legit.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's more they're making decent quarterbacks look like backups. I'd say they expose frauds. Like that's like I'd love to see like I'm not saying Stroud's a fraud at all, but I'd love to see Stroud go against that Cowboys defense. Like see how he I like it as like a baseline to see how a quarterback goes against a Cowboys defense. So
Yeah,
that's
I
how
like
I look at it.
I like that. Moving on, talking about the Cowboys. I was high on them for the season. I don't think that none of that's changed. To me, they've had three just similar to the Bills, right? 3 games where they look dominant, and then 1 terrible game, right? And the narrative on the Bills is, oh, they're the best team in the AFC, blah blah blah. And the Cowboys are like, well, they lost to the Cardinals, so is it real? Like it's tough because the Cowboys are never like they're always going to get hate just because of the star on their helmet. I don't like this weekend for them will be huge. You know who they play, right? The Niners.
49ers, yep.
Right. That game is probably going to be. That's probably obviously the best game of the weekend.
Oh yeah.
I think it'll be a big test. I'm not going to give away my predictions now, but
it's the Chiefs Bills of the NFC.
Well, no, you're not gonna count the Eagles.
Well, I don't know. I think Cowboys and Niners are. I mean, I guess Eagles are 4-0.
I gotta see the Cowboys play the Eagles because they haven't played them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to justify my reasoning, but I mean, rationalize it. But like, yeah, Eagles. I just don't think they've looked better. I think if you take away week 2, which is unfair to do, obviously, to just take it away, but kind of like what we're doing with the Bills, if you sort of, step away from that and understand that the Cowboys have looked so dominant besides that. I mean, so dominant. 38-3, was it 40-10? Or no, it was 40-0 and 30-10. I mean, they've just been destroying guys besides that Cardinals game. So I guess it's a little hard to justify how much that meant. So
yeah,
but I think Cowboys 49ers will be a better matchup than Eagles 49ers is kind of what I'm going for.
Yeah, the thing that's the Cowboys, no matter what they do in the regular season, the only thing that matters to them at this point is the playoffs. Like because they've gone 12-5. I think the last, if I'm not mistaken, 3 years or it might be 2, which is pretty insane, like in a row. And it doesn't matter because like whenever they get to the playoffs and then they lose to the Niners or like a better team, then the narrative just changes and they're frauds and they suck, blah blah blah. So I don't know if the regular season is really going to do anything for them at this point. Even if they beat the Niners, I don't think the narrative is going to change. I just it all comes down to for me is Dak, because the narrative on him is really bad. Like I think he's pretty underrated at this point.
I agree. Yep.
I
think that's something
I'm not saying he's a top tier guy, right? But I feel like he's that next tier under.
He can get it done.
Yeah, like his body of work. What is it? It's been like gosh, it feels like it's been a long time. It has been like 6 years probably of just like consistent. Yeah, maybe probably you're right. Jeez, like just 8 like good years in a row, and then like 1 bad year last year. Like the narrative completely changed on him.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we've both been saying that since he was not drafted, since the season started. Yeah, we both heard Dak hate and we both backed on it. So I totally agree. Yeah. I wanna get some chat play in here. So Nick says Purdy Sunday Night Football sling fest. I'm saying right now Purdy throws 2 interceptions. at the least. Purdy throws 2 picks.
Yeah.
Purdy throws 2 picks, and he doesn't get above 215 yards passing.
That's oof. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about that game because we'll talk about it.
Yeah, but that's all I want to say. Is I think Purdy gets. I think if Purdy doesn't get dominated, it's his receivers bailing him out.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I don't necessarily think I'm not the highest on Purdy. I think he's good, like he's fine, like he's. But I think there's a lot of other quarterbacks in the NFL that could be put in his position and do the same thing. He doesn't. That's not necessarily a knock on him. I just think Shanahan has that offense so schemed up, and those players are just so dominant. And like if you watch them play, like he has guys just running wide open, like
right.
The night like that's.
And I don't think the Cowboys allow that.
Yeah, the Niners haven't played a team like the Cowboys yet, like the defensive wise.
Like a Bills-Dolphins situation.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't get into that game yet, but yeah, that's going to be a really good game. But yeah, like I said, was playoffs kind of the only thing that matters at this point. They just gotta get there, and I think they will pretty easily. All right.
I think the Cowboys team is a team you make a mistake against. They're so consistent in their pressure on defense.
They're gonna force a bad
So I'm gonna backtrack the 215 yards. He'll probably pass for more yards, but I don't think that how many other QBs could win every game they start personally on any team.
Yeah.
How many? In the 49ers offense, there's a lot of QBs that could win. Burrow would have done the exact same thing so far with the 49ers in a Shanahan offense.
Like, give me like a second to like think of somebody.
Dak would have done it.
Yeah, if Dak was on the Niners, they would be it wouldn't be close, like Super Bowl, like easy.
I think Bryce Young could have done it at this point, dude. Like, I mean, you just need a solid guy back there.
Yeah. I just think you need a guy that's not gonna, try to go out of his way and play hero ball. Just be a point guard. Just get it to your guys.
Yeah, like Chris Paul.
Not trying to do too much. I agree. There's definitely a lot of guys.
I totally disagree with that comment.
Yeah.
Who is that guy? Nicholas? Do you know him?
I don't know.
I don't know who that guy is.
All right. We can move on.
You got another game?
Yeah.
Should we discuss the gridiron rivalry of the week? I think we gotta put our 2 cents in on it.
Let's do that. I'll let you talk for a second because this is all you.
I mean, obviously, it's a terrible look for both teams. Let's get that out of the way first, because I'm probably going to go on bragging about the Broncos. But let's just get it clear. I understand that this is a terrible look, and I mean, we look bad. So I mean, we go down 28-7 to the Bears, which is just the most embarrassing. I don't know if there's a more embarrassing thing you could do in football right now. So, but we came back and we won it. And I mean, I just want to get it out there. I don't think Fields had a great game, and this is by no means a revive. I mean, the handoff to Jonathan Cooper for a Broncos defensive touchdown. But I think this is probably a bigger thing for. I think I'm leaning more towards that Peyton one and done year. Because I'm just. It's almost more just I don't know if Peyton wants to be there for another year. It might be more of that than we fire him. Peyton might
you think he just resigns rather than he quit, rather than
it might be, dude. I'm hoping
money talks though, man. He's making some.
Yeah, he did muff a kick though and pin us down at the 1. So DJ Moore did not score that touchdown. Like. There's just no way both feet got down. That is crazy that they called that. That is absurd. Was, I mean, even the announcers and the rules analyst was that was nuts. So, I mean, I don't count that as a touchdown. And I mean, Surtain looks lazy, dude. He looks lazy. I'm hoping that maybe he wakes up, man, after we've won a game. I think he gave up, dude. He looks so lazy. He looks like Claypool right now. We should have put Surtain on Claypool if Claypool was playing, dude. And they just would have like how we were talking about how like O-lines do. O-line and D-line. They just would have sat there and been like, hey, I'm not getting the ball. Can we rest? And then they just would have chopped it up the whole time, dude. Like, Surtain looks so lazy. Like, you should not be getting burnt, torched by a Bears offense. Like, DJ Moore, I'm sorry, Surtain versus DJ Moore, I like that matchup for Surtain. I know Nick is a DJ Moore guy for some reason.
But I don't think he would take DJ in that matchup. Like,
DJ Moore is a mid-tier, wide receiver. Mid-tier number 1 wide receiver,
Yeah.
So,
I think he's a lower tier.
I think he was like the 15 to 20 range around there. Probably maybe dropping a little bit farther back into 20.
Like Surtain, like at least last year, like he was like the best corner in the NFL.
Dude, we saw him shut down Devontae Adams, who has been incredible since then. And then I keep making these takes that I'm like, well, you're gonna see this guy go against Surtain and he's gonna look bad, and it's been the wrong take every time. Maybe we changed up our defensive game plan and Surtain's not on those guys. I don't know. But we saw him get burnt by Chosen, which was that's embarrassing. But that one, it's understandable if he gave up. I would have been picking daisies too. So, but we came back 31-28. I think Fields still.
So do you feel better after the game or worse?
Worse.
After a win, that's tough.
I actually do feel a lot worse. I was hoping that was going to be like 40 to like 14. Like 42-14.
I thought the Broncos would win by like 10 to 14. Which honestly, I don't know what was going on in that first half. Like that second half, they dominated. Like it wasn't even a game. Like,
what's the game plan for the Bears? How do they improve? Not as in this offseason. What are they gonna do to fix their team? Eberflus got to go.
But why would you want him to go when he's giving you the first pick?
Okay,
so bad that he's so bad. Like,
as in for next season, I'm saying
he's handing you Caleb Williams.
If Caleb Williams wants to play for the Bears,
I hate that is bull. I don't think that is happening.
This is Nick's take, by the way, that Caleb Williams will go to play for the Bears.
Okay, if you're Caleb Williams, you say, look, obviously, hopefully by the time the season's over, Eberflus is gone because he needs to be gone no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if Caleb can go to the Bears and say, look, y'all need to hire an offensive guy who has experience winning games. Like, I'm not going to play for, like, a coordinator. Like, I'm not going to, like, a new, like, the guy who hasn't been a head coach, like a Ben Johnson for the Lions. I'm not going to play for that. Like, I want to play for, obviously he's not going to go there, but like a Doug Peterson or like a Sean Payton, like that type of, like, offensive mind that has won games. Like, because they can get Caleb and then draft Marvin Harrison. So Marvin Harrison, DJ Moore, that's a pretty nice one-two punch, right? Even if
DJ Moore is a better two receiver.
Even if they don't want Marvin Harrison, they can move off that pick for like multiple picks, and because their team is bad, right? So they need talent. So if they really didn't mind, like if they're okay with their receiving core, Caleb's okay with it, move off that pick, get a bunch of picks. I don't know. For this season, I don't really know what they do, honestly. I mean, Fields looked good for the first half. I mean, really good. It's not – I mean, I know the Broncos are terrible, but he still did it, and he hadn't shown anything worth anything up to that point. So.
Yeah, he showed that he showed that he still has an arm. If he wouldn't have had a game similar to that I guess he went a little above and beyond, but I mean, if he wouldn't have had his best game against that defense with how much we were just letting up in wide open territory. I know Nick wants to say he was extending the play and not getting sacked. I mean, dude, we just suck. Like,
I honestly feel bad for the guy because it seemed like he was getting some confidence. Like he needed a game where he played like he just needed that game, and then the second half to go how it did. You just saw him on the sideline after the game, just like his head was, like down, like he
fully deserves for going out against the coaches. He fully deserves it. I'd feel bad too if he didn't go out against the coaches.
That was
a crappy thing to do.
That was a really crappy thing to do. That's never going to work in the NFL. Like, I don't care who you are. It is never going to work going against your coaches. I don't really know what
net negative for everybody. Why would you do that?
I mean, you guess you trade him, but like
I was going to ask, do you think he gets a starting job anywhere else? Do you take Fields over Zach Wilson if you're on the Jets right now? So obviously, Rodgers comes back and starts.
If the Jets call, or if the Bears call the Jets and say, "Look, we'll swap quarterbacks."
Who wins? Who wins that trade? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like would the Jets hang up, or would they? Like if the Bears called the Jets, said, "Hey, we'll give you Justin, you give us Zach," what would the Jets say?
I mean, I'd say you're rearranging chairs on the Titanic. Like, I mean, it's you're trying to save an already sunken ship. So
Zach's a tough one. I will say that
I think Zach has more potential than Fields.
A team. I know it's tough because they've had pretty bad quarterbacks for a couple of years now, and they need a dude. Falcons. That's a fun scenario.
I think Fields starts there. Fields does start over Ridder.
Arthur Smith's a good offensive coordinator, I think. You have Bijan. You have weapons.
We got to talk about Bijan, man.
Yeah.
Animal.
That might be a good spot for him.
Yeah, and they're all young. Pitts.
And Fields is young, so he can just grow with them.
London. Yeah.
That might be a nice spot for him.
Johnny looks good. I didn't even know he was there.
Like, I think
that's a good thing.
I don't think sometimes, we've seen it with quarterbacks. Some quarterbacks thrive in it, but some don't. But some guys just needing a fresh start. And I think Fields would thrive off of that. I think the Falcons would be a great – I don't know. I mean, you could – at this part after the season, I don't think Fields is going to have – obviously, he's not going to have a great season. I think his trade value is going to be so low. You could probably get him for like nothing too. Like – and the Bears are going to trade him because they're probably going to be number one pick, and they're going to get Caleb. So they're not going to care what they get back because they're getting Caleb. So yeah, that's a good spot for him. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Bears will go 0-17. I think they might win a couple, but
I would have been so curious to see this Commanders game if Fields did come out with the confidence. Like, he probably did gain a little bit, and I mean, he got some experience of what a good offense looks like in that first half, because I mean, I don't know if he's ever seen that. So, he's seen it a couple times. But I mean, so he got the experience of a good offense that, like, last week, and I mean, so he didn't come away with the extreme confidence boost. But I mean, Commanders look good, so obviously, I mean, Commanders should roll. Commanders actually look pretty decent.
Yeah, but Thursday night games are weird. Like, teams beat teams you don't think. Like, I don't know. Just listening to like what players say about Thursday games, it's like you're not really prepping, like your body's not really fully recovered. So Thursday night games can be weird. Like, I'm not saying I'm picking the Bears to win, but I think it'll be just another interesting game. I mean, every week at this point, talking about the Commanders, every week is a test for Howell at this point, because I don't think if he has a bad season, I don't think the Commanders, I think they have to move on. I mean, it sucks. It sucks because, like, you don't – but, like, especially with this class coming in, like, if Shedeur on the board, Shedeur Sanders, you're really taking Howell over him? Like, I don't know. I think Shadeur's better prospect. Yeah. I mean, and he's obviously younger and going to be cheaper. You won't have to pay him.
Commanders also have a good wide receiver core.
Yeah, like
not great.
Like, I like their draft. Like, their defense is is good. Like, their defense is always gonna be pretty good with Rivera, I think. So
Fields is from Georgia too. Like, okay.
What?
Nick said Fields is from Georgia too.
Like, yeah, I mean, hey, that's I guess. But cool. I mean,
he just wants to get rid of him. Like, this is his sales pitch to the Falcons right now.
Yeah. It's tough. Like, not the standard, but like quarterbacks now more than ever, they don't have time to like screw around. It's tough. Like, they don't have multiple years, especially like teams. Like, they can't wait with quarterbacks anymore.
Yeah, their jobs are as like risked as
you
coaches.
saw with Zach Wilson. I mean, that dude has talent. Like I see talent in Zach Wilson. Like he has an arm, but he just has no confidence. And I don't think you watched that game, but he looked good. Like
I didn't watch it live, but I mean I saw, I was keeping up with it, and then I looked back over
he
it.
looked nice.
Very good. He looked very good.
I think that what that game did was it bought him a couple more games, like to like okay, see what you got. Like I think they were pretty much done with him like after the Patriots game, and then now it's like okay, we'll see what you got, especially against the Broncos. That's a nice team to get some confidence if you needed it.
It is. I'm very curious to see a Broncos Jets game if the Jets don't play like they did last week. I mean, you saw Zach Wilson beating himself up on the sideline and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm curious to see that game. Okay,
Yeah,
Nick, I want to talk about Howell for a second. So Nick says Howell is clearly their QB. I mean, I didn't realize his week 4 rule was this strict. I mean, he wouldn't have said anything about anybody, but now Howell is clearly their QB through 4. That's he looks good. It's not clearly their QB. Especially if they have the option for another guy. I mean, Howell does look decent, but he's not clearly their QB because he's not
all right,
great.
Nick, let's
okay. You would have been saying the same thing about Fields.
Since you're watching. Okay, it sucks to have to do this, but with quarterbacks, you have to look just as far as your division. Like okay, he's not better than Jalen Hurts. He's not. I definitely don't think he's better than Dak. I don't know what Nick thinks because Nick is so low on Dak.
He'll take Howell over Dak.
And then Daniel Jones, he obviously sucks. So it's kind of a wash. Like I guess he's better than Daniel Jones, but I mean, is he gonna? Do you think Howell's the guy that can take them to a NFC East championship over the Eagles? Like, I don't know. I'm not seeing that yet. He has time though because he has potential. I
would like to see him play another year because
he hasn't been. Bieniemy is such a good coordinator too.
I think it depends where the opportunities for the Commanders lie. So like if a QB comes out of the woodwork for them or something, so is kind of where I'm going. Like, I mean, if they have the chance for a better guy, I think they take it.
Honestly,
there's more pressing matter is what I would say.
Yeah.
Rivera and Bieniemy look good with Howell. So
what I'll say about the Commanders or about Howell, I guess, is like for him, and there's like maybe a few other quarterbacks with new or teams that are like this. Like every win for him is important because think about it. If he gets to like, let's say they win like 9 games, okay, that means they're probably drafting what, like 15, 18 range, probably 18 to 20, right? Do you think Washington's going to draft a quarterback that late? Because I don't think you're going to find that your franchise guy that late.
No, you're not going to find anybody like head and shoulders above Howell.
Like at that rate. So like
every
game like is important. Like if he can get to that, like I don't think you're going to look at a quarterback, but I think you have to look at a quarterback if you're that low because you probably won't be that low. Like again, and I think the quarterback's obviously the most important position. And I don't know if there's any glaring need for the Commanders right now. I'm not saying Howell's like a weakness. But I think, especially now in the NFL,
I think you might want to beef up that O-line. I guess that's not a first round.
It is a good O-line draft. I mean, yeah, you can always beef up an O-line. I guess
I'd say that is the most pressing.
I guess I give you that. I'll give you that. Yeah, their O-line's pretty weak. Yeah,
the Commanders look good with a bad O-line.
I mean to pile on, but how do the Commanders look this good off an offense with bad alignment and the Bengals look crap. Okay, wait, it's fine. We don't have to.
Let's just keep bagging on the Bengals.
Yeah, we don't talk about Zach Taylor.
Call it on.
Yeah, and there's a couple other guys like that. Like I'll give you an example, like Tampa, like with Baker, like coming into the year, everyone's like, oh yeah, they're gonna be bad, like they're gonna draft the guy, right? Mm-hmm. So like every win is important. Like the Bucks, if they continue to win, I don't know how much they're going to win, but if they continue to win, they're not going to draft a guy at 18 or 20. Like
Yeah, no, and I mean, yeah, I would not be mad to stay with Baker.
Yeah,
at all.
I mean, he's. I know Nick's gonna laugh, but he's the best guy in the division. I mean, Bryce Young maybe has the potential to get there, but I think it's pretty clear, at least through 4 weeks. It's not really a debate who's the best guy. Carr,
Through 4, Nick will take Carr through and through.
Yeah, but
Baker's played better.
I
Baker
think
is better.
the Saints made a really bad move this weekend
Playing
by playing
him.
Carr. Yeah, that
so stupid. Why are we doing that?
We've seen quarterbacks try to, like, again with Burrow, like, why do you let your quarterback sit out there? Like, just sit him for like a week or two. Like,
props to Bryce Young for taking that. And then, I mean, like, he took that time off, and then Andy Dalton went and got the. He didn't get the job done. Andy Dalton.
Okay, back to the. No, I'm going to talk about the Bengals, but like, another reason why the Bengals are so like hesitant to sit him is because they don't have a backup. Like, if the Bengals' backup was Andy Dalton, I guarantee you they would have sat him for a few weeks. Because you can win with Andy Dalton. You can win some games. Like the game that Bryce Young missed, like Andy Dalton went in. Do you see his stats?
Yards. No, I know, dude.
I think he had as many passing yards as Bryce Young on the season, like in one game. You know what I mean?
Dude, Andy Dalton could be a starter in this league right now.
No question. He's a low end starter. Yeah.
Yeah, and Andy Dalton's a dog.
Yeah.
For a backup.
I agree with that. Saints is like they had Jameis. Like, just start Jameis.
That's what I was gonna say is, like, when your job is like Carr's job is actually pretty solidified at starter. Yeah. So why are you going? So I get it for something, like I get it for Bryce Young to go out there and play. He's trying to get his job, and I mean I would get it for Howell to go out there and play. He hadn't had the opportunity, but I'd get it for people like that to go out and play because they're fighting for their job. Their job is on the line, like a coach's is every year. So, but I mean, I don't know what Derek Carr is doing. That was stupid.
Yeah, I think in that situation, you just got to hold him out. But I think Dennis Allen's a horrible coach. I'm going to stand by that. And their offensive coordinator sucks. Like, if you watch that game, like, the Bucs didn't respect Carr throwing down the field. Like, they didn't think he had it. They didn't think he had the confidence. And Kamara had 13 catches. Literally, it was all, like, dump-offs. Because I'm willing to guarantee you Derek Carr did not practice hardly at all. So the game plan was going to be so simple. And the Bucs, like, that's not a team that you can just do that against because they have Lavonte David and Devin White. Those are two, like, really good linebackers. Like, they can come up and tackle Kamara. So that was a tough move by the Saints, and that was a big loss for them.
Yeah, it's the hero complex that these quarterbacks get, that they can't even fathom the idea that them being out there when they're not 100% healthy could hurt their team.
But I think all quarterbacks have that. I don't even necessarily think that's like a bad thing for the quarterback. I think as a coach or as an organization, you got to say, look, dude, we're sitting you for a game. You can take a game. You're our guy. Like, you tell him you're our guy, right? We just need you to get healthy. Like, we need you for the next 13 weeks, not for next week, you know? Yeah. Like, even if the Saints lost that game with Jameis, I wouldn't feel as worse about them. But in playing, like, with that injury, he looked really bad. So I don't know.
It looks so much worse now.
Yeah, let's talk about that game a little bit. Yeah, the Saints, they're that team, like, the past few years that's like delaying the tanking process. Like, in the NFL, like, you have to be bad if you want to be good, right? So, and like, you look at all the best teams, they've all been bad for a little bit.
Yeah, it's like the cycle of life in the NFL.
Yeah. So, and the Saints have just been delaying that. And I don't know if you've seen it, but they're next, like, this coming off season, like, guess how much money they're over the. Oh, I think did I tell you this?
No, I don't think so.
Guess how much money they are over the cap. Just take a guess.
20 mil.
More.
70.
A little more.
Wow, 75, 80?
Yeah, they're 84 million over the cap. And, like, you think about it, it's like, who are they paying? But they're paying, like, Michael Thomas, like, a lot of money. Like Demario Davis, who's like old and he's not as good as he once was, and Cam Jordan's still really good, but they're paying him a lot.
Cam Jordan is good.
Yeah, he is
on that bucket. He looked real good.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like that move for Carr like at all. I think this was a reset year for them, but they just didn't want to do it. They were fine being stuck in mediocrity. Yeah,
I think it's like the Patriots do. Like both those teams need to tank. It's over.
Yeah,
I say that, but the Patriots actually looked kind of
like
good
the Bucks,
but I think that was fluky.
Like the Bucks did it perfect. Like, okay, we just got off of Tom, right? Obviously, he's great. We're gonna take a gamble on a guy for like nothing, right? And if he doesn't pan out, we suck. We draft a guy, and he's gone. Like that, he's on the contract for $4 million. Like he's played better than Derek Carr, and Derek Carr is making like $160 million, like $140 million. Like the Bucks have a steal like quarterback right now, and they have so much dead money from the Super Bowl runs they went on, and they're not. It doesn't really matter because their quarterback is, I think, outplaying what everyone thought, even what I thought he was coming in. He's been a top 10 guy through 4 weeks. I don't know if he'll sustain that. I think he's in the 12 to 15 range. Personally,
yeah, I'd agree with that.
He's playing good, and for him, for Baker, he's best. Like this is a perfect situation for him because the Bucks, everyone thinks they're gonna suck. Everyone thinks he sucks, and if you think about it, like his whole career, it's like goes from walk on to Heisman, and then you go to Cleveland, everyone thinks they suck. And then he takes them to 7 wins his rookie year, and then they make the playoffs then like 2 years later. So he's best when everyone like turns their heads on him. And I think this whole season is just like a free year. Like it's not free, but like the Bucks, they got to steal with him.
We'll see him a little bit more out of the spotlight and see if maybe he's like affected less. So, So I mean, I think maybe there's some factors that are affecting him that aren't like on the field things. Because I mean, his just ups and downs. He's consistently inconsistent, if that makes sense. Like the cycle isn't like what I'm referring to, but it's kind of like he has a cycle like that. I know that the meme, but that's not really what I'm saying. It's just he does have, he's prone to just have his stretch of bad games, and hopefully with the Bucks is the change he needs because he's got the talent, dude. I mean,
yeah,
Baker's got the talent, and I mean. Yeah, he can like. Yeah, I mean Evans, I thought was going to be better than some people thought, but I mean, Evans looked. I mean, I know he's
looking as good as he's ever looked. Honestly, to me,
he looks very good. I mean, he's looking as good as back like when the Bucks had like Doug Martin.
He looks like slimmer, so he looks like faster. Like he's like breaking. Like I never saw Mike Evans break a tackle. Like he like broke off like a few weeks ago in that Bears game. Like he broke off like a 70-yard run. Like I've never seen him do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he's getting into more of like an all-around role where it used to be he was their jump ball go deep guy. He was their deep ball guy, and now he's doing more. Like getting him in everywhere.
Yeah, they have new offensive coordinator. I think they needed a change after last year, and I think they just needed a new voice, especially with Brady leaving. And I think they've really schemed up well, like him and Godwin. I think those two guys are super underrated. Obviously, they're proving it. And, yeah, I don't necessarily know how far the Bucs team go. I had them at 9-8 in the preseason prediction. I'd probably still stick around that. They have a tough schedule coming up. We'll see how they do. Yeah, I'm curious about them. That's a sneaky team in the NFC.
Yeah, I like the Bucs. I think that's another. You're going to see them pick up games against a lot of teams that they're probably not as good as. Like they could have picked up that game versus the Eagles if they're playing. If Rashad White comes into his own and this offense really gets going, we've seen the defense. If
Mike doesn't drop those passes, that game's completely different.
Evans dropped a few, and I mean, it was in the rain. It was a tough game.
That was a tough spot. Yeah.
I think the forces that be were on the Eagles side for that one. So I mean, who do the Bucks play next week?
Let's see. They actually have a bye week next week, and then after that, which actually is good
Lions.
for them. That's a good game.
Oh, I think they're like the same.
That's a good like measuring stick game. Like to be like, all right, because the Lions are like they're not as good as the Eagles, but they're not as bad as the Saints. So like,
dude, Lions are good, man.
I know, they're good. So that'll be a good test for the Bucks, like to see where they're at. And I think Evans got hurt in that game, so I think giving him a bye is like perfect. And I think they have a couple other injuries that can, like in the secondary, they can get healthy. But yeah, I think we can wrap it up here. I appreciate talking. This was fun without Nick for a change. Yeah. What do you think? What do you have to say?
I had fun. New structure, a little bit more free flowing. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. All right.
Great week of football.
Yeah.
I think this is the best week of football so far.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And we've got 13 more, so this is gonna be fun.
Yeah. Still got to define teams and their spots.
Yeah. Appreciate any of you watching out there. We'll be back on tomorrow for picks tomorrow night. Pick week 5 games. And hope y'all enjoyed, and see y'all.